Hi, everyone. Welcome to All About the Joy, the private lounge. In the house is Cynthia Lopez and Rick Costa. I'm sorry, Cynthia Lopez Ruiz.
It's okay. It's okay.
I know. And Rick Costa's in the house. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. So we just want to give a shout out to Mario and Alma. We miss them. We look forward to having them back when they're able to return. But they are still part of the neighborhood. So I know people have missed them. So I just want to throw that out there. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit today just about a glitch in the matrix. And I know this is kind of weird, but I know you guys are on TikTok. And for those of you who are not on TikTok, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you've seen this. The other night was, I haven't been feeling well. So I've been kind of up at different hours or whatever. And I did the doom scroll, right? The TikTok doom scroll. And I came across this TikToker and he was like, stop. Don't keep scrolling. If this video found you, then it was meant to be. And he goes down this whole thing. He's like, this is what's going to happen. And I can feel it because of the runes and the this and the tarot and the whatever. And I was in it. Let me tell you, I was like, yes. Oh my God. Yes. I was like,
she was definitely tired.
But he went on for the whole 10 minutes reading cards and I don't even know what runes are, but I learned those stones or whatever. And he's going on. And I was like, you know what? This is why I was sick. I needed to see, this is the message. The universe sends me a message. So I go to scroll to the next one and it's yet another person.
The algorithm, like she likes this stuff.
Right. So we got to throw them all at her.
But she was talking about astrology. She's like, are you a Capricorn? I'm like, I'm a Capricorn. I'm like, let me tell you, it took me about another 60 seconds to realize, like, okay, the algorithm is so messing with me right now. I put it away.
How much of that NyQuil did you take?
But it got me thinking about all of these different things, superstitions and astrology. And I just wanted to know how you guys felt about it. Do you guys believe in certain things? Do you have any feelings about it? And Rick, especially with you regarding religion, how it might intertwine or not or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, I think we had this conversation before, Carmen, with astrology, like you're a Capricorn on Pisces and like all the characteristics and things like that. And I'm so for astrology. Like I used to read it almost every day. I don't anymore, but every now and then I'll read it and I'm like, oh yep. I'm like, that's happened already this week. Oh, this is what I have looked.
So do you mean a horoscope? You mean the horoscope?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And stuff like that. And, comparing people's characteristics with how they really are and things like that. So sometimes I do believe in it. I've kind of been like iffy with it lately.
Really?
But, yeah. But before I was like so into it every day reading my horoscope.
Well, when I was like 13, I used to be like, oh my God, I know he loves me. Look at his horoscope. And then I'd be like, we totally match. It wouldn't even matter like which one I looked at. I don't even know astrology, right? But I would be like, oh my God, he totally loves me. It was so weird. But go ahead, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, as far as astrology, that was pre-Christianity, Jesus stuff for me. I was so into that stuff.
Really?
Oh my gosh, because of the abuse and everything I was going through with mostly dad, I just felt like I needed some answers, some power, some way for some kind of control in my life, like something, because I'm going nuts. And I was all into that. And oh my gosh, all ESP, psychic, astrology, all that occult stuff. I was like, and in my mind, I'm like, God's cool with this. God's cool. Because my mother did raise me, to believe in God, very Catholic, da-da-da. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh yeah, God's cool. Ouija board. I had a Ouija board. believe it or not.
A
Yes.
Ouija board.
That's one thing. I will never mess with the Ouija
Messing
board.
with the spirits. Mm.
I was so crazy when I was a kid. I was so crazy. I brought it to school, trying to get people to do it with me, and they're like, "Oh, I ain't messing with that."
I don't believe in it, but I ain't messing with it. You know what I mean? I ain't crazy.
You don't want to tempt it.
I ain't tempting that shit. Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I was into all that stuff, but now it's like, I mean, there's a traumatic story that I'll get out. But anyway, I look at horoscopes today, and I'm like, y'all, this is so generic. You can literally take any of them and apply them to you.
Yeah.
But somebody would get all excited. My horoscope said, be careful around water. And I almost slipped in the bathtub today. Oh my God, it's so accurate. Come on. Stop.
You might slip because you don't have a mat in your bathtub.
Or you don't clean that nasty thing.
I just want everyone who's listening to the podcast who are into astrology, you can send all of your emails and complaints to Rick Costa and Cynthia Ruiz Lopez. Do not send it to me. You know who else is a big astrology person? You guys would be so surprised.
Andrea.
Which,
really?
Yeah, because she's like teetering on atheism. I think she's more agnostic. And not to keep talking about her, but her birthday is coming up. So we'll give a shout out to her on her birthday. But yeah, I always found it fascinating. But it's what you're talking about, Rick, is like we always want to be able to try to explain things, you know. I will say I've never believed, not even when I was a teenager and doing the whole love thing and craziness. The problem with astrology for me is more of a weird scientific thing in that in order to really understand the stars and what they may mean, you have to understand where all the stars in the universe are. And we don't. Right? We only know the ones that are in our orbit, in our whatever. So I always thought that was, logically, it didn't make any sense that that's what it could mean. But, you know, that's probably getting too into the weeds.
So I've always been a skeptic when it comes to psychics. And I went to a psychic once, and it was with my friend at the time. And me and Juan had just started dating. I didn't say anything to this woman about Juan, about anything. And she automatically knew I was going to be dating this guy. I'm dating this guy. He does have children, but he's going to be the one that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. And yeah, which I thought was very weird, but that was the only time I ever saw a psychic.
I've gone in and seen psychics too. And when I left, I was like, oh my God, how did they know? Even, and I'll say this because, you know, I write in journals all the time, right? So the reason why I get rid of my journals is so many reasons. So every year on my birthday, I get rid of all the journals I've written all year. And people always like, why? You have such material. I'm like, because I know what's in there. And one of the things I remember specifically is I went to the psychic and, you know, you pay your $50 or whatever it is and you sit down, they do the whole reading with your hand and whatever. And they do the tarot cards and the whole thing. And they have the whole look, the whole look with the beads and the whatever. And she was so on point. And then she was like, and you're going to have 3 kids and he loves you and you're going to be very wealthy. And she just went, and I was like, I believe all of this. Like, it's so good. She had all this stuff beforehand, right? You know what I mean? Like, and of course, none of that happened, by the way. I don't have children and I'm not extremely wealthy, nor did I marry someone wealthy. Complete opposite, actually. But I think they get us, and I'm not saying all of them are scams, but I'm going to say that they do get us because some of the stuff is still generalized.
Yeah.
Most women your age, when you went in that day, are probably dating somebody or want to talk. And then, like, you do a face like this, like, you know, like they say, you know, like, you know, you make a thing or whatever. And I'm not saying all of them. I do believe there are people out there who have that sixth sense, though. I'm not going to mess with that. I do think there are people out there who have, but what I believe too is that they're not making money off of it. Probably. Yeah.
I used to actually work with someone who was kind of like a medium, and I never asked her to do any type of reading or anything.
I don't know what a medium is as opposed to a psychic. Isn't that the same thing?
They can speak to the other side. so they
Oh
can
my God, they see dead people. Okay.
they see them or they hear messages from them and
This
things
is
like
like
that.
Whoopi Goldberg in the movie
Yeah.
Ghost.
Thinking that. I was thinking that already.
But
Understood. Go ahead.
it
Okay.
was funny. So I never asked her to do any type of reading, and she said to me, she's like, I can do a reading for you. And I said, no. And she's like, but you don't want to know about your mom? And she
Oh,
came out and said that, and I said, no. I said, I don't. I said, thank you, but I don't want to know anything.
yeah.
Like, I don't. Leave it as is,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's freaky. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Rick.
No, what was funny about the Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost was originally she was fake. Like she did that for a living, and she was totally fake. But then, a real one showed up, and the kicked in, I guess.
Right.
But
Patrick
that
Swayze. Oh, we miss him. Oh,
oh
he was
yeah,
such a great dancer. Not to go off on a tangent, but every time I think of Ghost or any, I loved Patrick Swayze. He was amazing. Did I say Patrick Stewart? No, I said Patrick Swayze.
You were about to.
I was about to, right? I want to hear what Rick had to say about suspicion and religion, if you don't mind touching on it. Like kind of, the things we do, knock on wood and, throw salt on your whatever that thing is.
Over the left shoulder.
Over your left shoulder. Look at him and crack your mother's back. Right? Isn't that? I don't know.
yeah, step on a crack. Yeah.
Right.
It's all superstition, I think. I don't put any stock in any of that stuff, to be honest with you. And where my parents come from, boy, they had a lot of that stuff. Like one thing was, if you're pregnant, if the woman's face, this sounds so stupid, becomes ugly, it's because it's a girl, because the girl is taking the beauty from the mother.
Heard that. I've heard that so many times.
What?
Wow. Wow, that's so wrong. And then what would happen when the kid came out ugly anyways? Like,
Yeah, right.
that she wasn't that pretty? Is that what that was?
You blame it on the dad.
I know. Yeah. I wonder how some of these things begin, right? They're so weird. So I will share with you something that I thought was fascinating regarding the idea of deja vu or things that are predictive, right? So deja vu in the science community, and I didn't read up on all of this because there was so much. They, of course, don't believe in it. They think some of it is just sometimes the electrical parts of our brain are misfiring, or it could have something to do with dream sleeping. Like we dream about things, we don't know where they come from, but then we experience something similar in life. And I thought that was fascinating, But one of the real life kind of eerie coincidences, because that's another one, right? Do we believe in coincidences? And I wanted to come up with something contemporary. So do you guys know the show The Simpsons? It was the animated series, The Simpsons.
Oh, it's still on.
I'm not trying to pretend, everybody. Is
Is
it
like
still on?
the
I don't know.
running show ever?
Okay,
It's 30-something years now.
You know what? Again, it was a pleasure to have your dumb asses on the show. Why are you messing with me? I don't know if you know what's so funny? I don't watch The Simpsons. I don't
either, but we know about it.
Okay.
And I was making these predictions.
Conversation.
All these predictions of who's going to be the president and this, that, and the other.
Well, let me tell you. So this is the thing about The Simpsons that's kind of weird. Is it coincidence or is it something else? They predicted, well, they didn't predict, but in a 2000 episode, The Simpsons joked about Trump becoming president, and 16 years later it happened. So, Rick, you knew that one. Smartwatches. In 1995, the show featured a wristwatch that could make phone calls years before smartwatches became a reality. I didn't know that. Disney buying Fox. In 1998, The Simpsons showed a sign that said 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Co., which actually happened in 2017. And another one, the Higgs boson equation. In 1998, Homer wrote an equation on a chalkboard that turned out to be shockingly close to the actual Higgs boson particle discovery in 2012. I probably should have looked up what that Higgs boson thingy is because it sounds important, but I don't know what it is. Well, and then I was looking at Reddit. In 2013, a Reddit user posted a joke prediction that the Chicago Cubs would win the World Series in 2016. even though they hadn't won in 108 years, and 3 years later, the Cubs actually did win. So, are those things coincidences? Do you believe in coincidences, or is there something else going on there?
Mm.
I mean, it could be coincidence. Could be educated guesses. I remember reading a comic. So this character came from the future, and then they were showing her memories, right? And in her memories, she sees, and now this is way before 9/11, they show her seeing her past, and they're showing the Twin Towers on fire.
Mm.
Like, yo, that's great.
But is that coincidence, or is there something to it? I mean,
who knows? I mean,
well, do you personally believe in coincidences, Cynthia?
I think everything happens for a reason. Yeah. I don't think something just happened just because. I think there is a reason something happened. Now, it's like they always say, that butterfly effect. If you go in the past and you change one little thing, the whole future has now altered. So I think it's kind of something like that, where if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen regardless. I don't think it's just a coincidence. It's meant to be. It's meant to happen.
Oh, but now we're touching on fate. I mean, so wait a minute. So I just got totally confused. I was totally with you till you said if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. So are you saying
not
that
a coincidence.
It's predestined, or?
Yeah, I think so.
So, okay, this is interesting. Rick, do you believe the same thing, that things happen for a reason, so it's kind of predestined, like there's no such thing as coincidences?
I think life is very random, very, very random. I don't think speaking from the Christian side of things, a lot of them believe God's in control of everything. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely. I do not believe that. 100% do not believe that. So, like, God's responsible for planes falling out of the sky. God's responsible for people getting killed in cars. That's stupid. No. I think life is random. And and there's a verse that says it rains on the just and the unjust. It's just random. Doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are. I just did a broadcast. Why do bad things happen to good people? Bad things happen to bad people. Good things happen to bad people. Like, it's just all random. Now, I do believe that God can use a circumstance, try to like push you towards a certain way, but I don't think he's like controlling everything. I don't believe that at all. But coincidences can happen. Like, oh, that's
the way I see it is like, I think that obviously God knows what our lives are going to be, but it's our decisions on how we're going to get there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a coincidence because he already knows what's going to happen to us, but we have different directions on which way to go. So we're the ones making those decisions. So like I said, I don't think it's a coincidence. I just think if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. It's just the way that we choose it to happen. That makes sense?
Yeah, I just completely disagree, obviously. When I'm being quiet, it's because I'm trying to let you speak.
The one thing I do believe 100% is that we all have free will. 100%. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. If God wants you to do whatever, you can still say no.
But then that kind of goes against the idea of it being predestined, that, like, Cynthia, the way in which I was interpreting that you were saying is, like, no matter what, God already has a plan for you, and so you're going to get to that goal. But then Rick just said, but you can choose to do whatever you want, so maybe you don't get to that goal. Right? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have free will and yet also have a predestined determination, right? So I don't believe in coincidences at all either, but not because of the reasons that you guys are talking about. I believe, because I'm not trying to make this a battle of religions, all right? Because we all know that I'm kind of more atheist or agnostic nowadays, but I've always been not very religious anyways. The reason why I don't believe in coincidences is because I actually believe that there are patterns in all of the chaos. Even if we don't understand the patterns, the chaos, like it's kind of like what you were talking about, the butterfly effect, and I'm not sure that's the correct interpretation because I don't know how to explain it either as a scientist, but that's my simple way of understanding it as well too. If a butterfly flaps his wings, in Hawaii, it rains or whatever. There's a windstorm in Florida or something. You know what I mean? Like a simple, kind of logical thing. And for me, that's what I believe. I believe there are so many different equations and choices we can make every single day. And all of those choices have consequences. And those consequences affect other people. And other people make choices. And then, and it goes down and down and down. But I think about something really simple. The simplest of things. And not to get all, personal or whatever. Yeah, right. But I think about, had my mother lived, even if she had lived another year, how dramatically that might have changed my life. Or if she had died the first time that they thought she was going to pass away, and I was much younger, like those small, tiny details just change your entire life. What if I decided after college not to come to California, instead went back to Boston? All of those are choices that change the trajectory of who I became and who I am today. But those were all within my ability. I mean, not my mom dying or whatever, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? When you see those twists and turns. So I don't think we were created in a way to have a predestined outcome. And I've talked to Rick about this and we agree to disagree, but I think of God or whatever entity you believe in as more of an architect. Like when you see a house or a building, you know that an architect built it, but the architect isn't there. The architect isn't sitting there waiting for you to call on him to come fix the faucet or whatever, you know what I mean? Or redesign something, but that something built to this building, but he's no longer there. He's gone. And so the building exists doing what the building is going to do. And that's I know it's kind of a really simple, weird way to think about it, but that's how I think of God. And so whatever happens to that building, to the people in that building, anybody living in that building, whatever, has nothing to do with the architect anymore. The artist created the art and walked away. And now it's upon us to deal with it and handle it and enjoy it. And you know what I mean? So, but I think the magnificence of it is when you look at, and for me, it's about the science, and I don't even understand it that well, but I love learning about it, kind of the idea of chaos theory, which is that idea that there are all these patterns, even if we don't understand it. Does that make sense? Yeah. I always think about it like when I walk into somebody's room and it's completely messy and dirty and like they have stuff thrown all over the place and it just looks so chaotic, right? We all freak out. And the truth is, once you start cleaning up that room, you can see, oh, she went to a party that day. Oh, this is when she was playing with whatever. You know what I mean?
There's a story behind each thing.
There's a story, and you can start to see the patterns in the room of the chaos. And that's kind of how I see what our lives are like.
The whole messy room thing. Let's say you have two different people and one is everything's clean, organized, and in its place. And but you got the other one, everything seems to be all over the place. But it's so interesting that the person that has everything all over the place, they know exactly where everything is. They never lose it. They know exactly where everything is.
I think that's a facade, but okay, go ahead. that's like a grandmama's tale that everyone believes, but go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, because I'm like that. I mean, I'm not super messy, but it might seem to somebody else, oh, Lord have mercy, how do you find anything? I know exactly where everything is.
But wait, are you more of it's messy, or is it just because you have a lot of stuff and you know where everything is? Because there's two different things. I mean, being messy is just like everything thrown everywhere. You really don't know where everything is. And another one is just having a lot of stuff. It may look messy, but it's really not. It's just a little cluttered. And then you know where everything is.
Cynthia's talking about the difference between a hoarder. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, the borderline hoarder. I almost said hoarder.
You're not a hoarder.
No, but I have a lot of stuff. And I know where it all is.
Yeah. And I'm the complete opposite. I am extremely, I should have let you finish. I was trying to see what you were going to say about organized people. What were you going to say, Rick? Let's rewind. Go ahead. What were you saying, baby? I should put you up. You're about to diss organized people. Go ahead.
No, it's just funny that people that I've been to their house and they're, everything's so pristine and immaculate, but yet all the time, like, Lord, I don't know where I put my keys. Lord, I don't know where I put this. Lord, I don't know where I put that. I'm like, how? You're so organized in my mind.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm extremely to a T, very organized. I think we've talked about this before. I can't function in chaos. I don't like chaos. Mm-hmm. I don't mind chaos if I understand it. Like if I understand what's happening or whatever, I'm okay with it. But yeah, I don't like anything that's out of order. And I don't think I make my guests feel uncomfortable, but I've been told that, I don't know. I'm not saying Cynthia, but people feel like they have to be neat around me because my house is so right. I don't know. Did you feel uncomfortable when you came to my house?
No, because I'm kind of the same way. I like things in a certain area. Yeah. Like Juan and the kids always make fun of me because when the kids lived with us, they would always try to move some of my stuff to see if I would notice. And I would walk into the house and I'm like, why is that there? Why is that there? And they would make fun of me all the time. So I get it.
Yeah, I think those are all just stylistic things too. I mean, Rick, in a lot of ways, I agree with you. I think some people are extremely messy and know where everything is. Like, especially when working in offices. Yeah. Oh my God. Like in one of the offices I used to work in, I was like, okay, I'm no longer coming into this office. I'm working in the conference room because I can't. But if I tried to move anything on her desk, she would freak out because she couldn't find anything. But it was like just everything was thrown. That's how it looked, thrown. You couldn't find a stapler. You couldn't find anything. But she would move like 3 piles and be like, here it is. But I can't function that way at all.
I'm one that I like everything in its place. This is where this goes, and this is where it goes forever. Always.
Oh, so you're organized. You just have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you're organized.
But now the crazy part is I live with somebody who unfortunately has dementia. So it's complete opposite. I'm like,
I know, but that's different.
I know, and I have to be calm and just roll with it. But the inside of me goes,
okay, so you're worse than I am because I don't get all that befuddled over somebody. You know what I mean?
Have to squash it down.
Like when I used to have my goddaughter over because she was little, and kids are going to be kids. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I'd be like, oh my God, stop. I'd be like, she's 4, Carmen, let her be. She's just playing. I would be like, I'd have to bite my tongue though, because I'm like, okay, it's not a big deal. She's just playing and the paints are everywhere and whatever. Yeah. And I know it's different for you. But I'm saying it's not like purposely at all.
No.
Not even stylistically. That is.
It's not about on purpose or blame. It's just that I still have to constantly deal with it every single day. And my
so you have to clean up after her? Is that what it is? Just. Okay, yeah. Going to go down a different. Okay, let's change the subject. Sorry.
So many ways.
You see the smoke coming out of his ears.
And I'm like, oh no.
You were talking about deja vu before. We didn't really talk about that.
Well,
I definitely had that where I'm like, I'll be sitting on my desk doing something, and all of a sudden, wait a minute. I feel like I've had this exact moment before, and then I try to think, and I'm like, oh yeah, or think hard. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly the same thing that happened then, but it's like, the way it just hits you in a wave, like, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, a little bit.
I disagree with the scientist a bit on this, and since I am Carmen Suarez, you know what I mean? Like Dr. Lisette Suarez. Now, I think there are real things that are unexplained at this moment in time. Maybe in the future, somebody will explain them to me so that they actually feel true. And I think deja vu is a thing that we don't understand. I don't think it's just my brain firing. There are some times when I'm like, no, I'm doing this again. I've been here before. And I know I've never, especially when I drove one time to Orange County, which is a part of California, and I drove down to somebody I'd never known. And it was the first time I was meeting her. And we had met online on a meetup board or whatever. And we were going to meet for dinner. And when I pulled into the parking lot to a restaurant I'd never been to before, I was like, oh my God. And when I saw her, I knew exactly who she was. And this is before we had webcams and whatever and all this stuff. And I was like, I was like, I think we've met before. She was like, what? Like, she's like, you're a weirdo. You know what I mean? We became friends, but it's just one of those things. Like, I will never forget that. And I was like, that happened somehow in some other way. And I'm remembering it, but it didn't actually happen to me. And now I don't believe in past lives. So I don't want no one coming at me. I don't, but something in my past.
What about parallel universes? Believe in that?
I don't. Okay, can I tell you guys a story about Richard? And then I don't know. Because you were talking about a little bit before about spirits. We were being funny. Brujeria. Yeah. Okay. When my friend Richard passed away in 2012 in April, we had 2 memorial funeral services for him or whatever. One was in Oregon and one was in Vermont. When I had to fly to the one in Oregon, I was supposed to have a big medical thing happen and I was not feeling well. And also I was depressed because my best friend died. You know what I mean? Like it was just a miserable time. I just had a bad time at that first memorial. I hated everybody who was there. I hope none of them are listening, but they probably are. It was just one of those like things where I was like, oh my God, you're all lying. You know what I mean? Like people were getting up and saying stuff. I was like, because I knew what he would tell me. You know what I mean? And then these people, like people get up and start crying, whatever, and they treated you like shit when you were alive. That type of thing. All right, I'm going off on a tangent here. Sorry. So I remember on the way back on the plane, I was like, please, God, please, please, please let me have like just some peace and quiet. I wish I could have nobody sitting next to me. And that does not happen. You do not have people sitting next to you. You always do. I was like, please just let me have leg room, I just want to be easy, whatever. When I got on the plane, the seat next to me was broken. Nobody could sit next to me.
Nice.
And I swear to you, I was like, Richard, you did. I know you. I mean, the whole time I was like this. I was feeling better. I knew that he did that, okay? The second memorial was like 2 weeks later or something. And so I had to go to Vermont. And when I went to Vermont, same thing. You had to meet with all these people, whatever. And it was, how it is at funeral. That's why I'm not going to have no funeral. Because it's all fake and blah, 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 whatever. I come back. I hated being there. I come back and I get off the plane. I come home and I was like, I need to get some food. So I was walking. And I said, I'm going to get some coffee. I was walking to Pete's Coffee and I was walking across the street. I think I told you guys this story before. I don't know. But I was walking across the street and all of a sudden, as I'm walking, the light changes. And as I'm walking with a bunch of other people, a bird, a huge ass crow or something, hit me on the head and knocked me to the ground. Did I tell you guys that story? I think I said it before. Knocked me on the ground. People were like, like somebody got out of their car. They were like, are you okay? I didn't know a bird had hit me. I didn't know, but I fell to the ground. And all these people got me up. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. What was it? They were like, it was a crow. Hit you in the head. And I was like, fucking Richard.
I hate crows.
Motherfucker. To this day, have you ever heard of that?
No,
never. And I'm telling you, and not that I'm not going to sit here and be like, we had a conversation about a crow, but I'm telling you, I knew, and I got up and I was okay, and I was laughing like, I can't believe you did that. Okay, all right, I know you're fine. Like I just knew in that moment he was fine. Okay, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I believe in you. I know.
When my grandma died, so all my life she lived with us, so I always knew my grandma, and she had very long hair, white, kind of yellow tinted a little bit hair, very long. I usually kept it in a bun, whatever, until she went to bed. So I've always known her looking like that, slightly overweight, a little bit, but she's old. So then I had a dream after she died, and I saw her like in heaven with jet black straight hair and very thin. I said, Mom, can you tell me what vovó means grandma Portuguese, looked like when she was young? She's like, what I said.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, is that like God saying like, I got you. She's here. Don't worry about it.
You in a dream.
Maybe. Who knows?
Cynthia.
First thing, I hate crows. I've always hated.
You know,
I
they're
do not
really
like
smart.
crows.
They are
Yeah,
really
they are.
intelligent.
I heard they're so smart that it's illegal to have one as a pet in a lot of states because people train them to do like steal.
No, we have crows here, and they like wait on the ledge. Like I'm like, hey, good morning. I say hi to one of them because he's always like, hi. Like,
Oh yeah, if you're ever like mean to one of them, like they remember and they will like stalk you. Oh yeah, but
oh,
I,
but be nice to
I
them.
hate. Oh yeah, I'm nice to them because I've like since I was little, like the grandparents always tell you don't look at a crow directly in the eye because they take your soul or some
Take your
some
soul. Wow.
something like that. Like something that has to do with the dead or something. You know what I mean? Like so, I don't like crows or anything like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us a story about you and crows. No.
Oh no.
I remember hearing stories of people going to Africa and, they were, behind technologically, put it that way. And people were taking pictures. Of course, they're going to take pictures. This is a tribe or whatever, So, and when they realized what they were doing, they were like, no. They were freaking out. Like, no, when you do that, you're stealing our soul. Like they thought that you were stealing their soul by taking pictures. That's
Right.
crazy.
That might just be because of not understanding technology, though, too.
Yeah.
I think, not to make this about birds now, but I think it's so funny. I think crows are so cool. I love them. That's so interesting. Yeah. Maybe you've seen too many horror films with bad crows.
Hitchcock.
You think of the birds.
Yeah.
The movie The Birds.
Yeah. But so do you guys believe in spirits and ghosts? And, like that's kind of why I was talking about the Richard thing. Like, you do?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, when Juan's aunt had passed away, he had went to DR for the service, and
People
she
who
was
don't
kind
know
of
what DR is, it's Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. Sorry. And I guess she was like kind of a prankster and stuff like that. So him and his cousin were up late one night watching TV. They're about to go to bed. They turn off the TV. They walk out of the living room, and all of a sudden the TV turns back on.
Oh, I believe.
And they're both like looking at each other like, we did turn off the TV, right? And they're like, oh, we know that's you, Thea, just messing with us and stuff like that to kind of give them, some
That's
peace
kinda
or whatever.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I've never been visited though by like my mom or anything. I've never had, and I don't want that to happen, but I think it would freak me out. But that's never happened to me.
I've never dreamt with my mom, but after she passed, I only had one situation happen. Like, so in my bedroom, I had bunk beds. So I would sleep on the bottom bunk. And after she had passed, it was like a couple of days later, I was sleeping. But you know how like sometimes you're in that middle awake sleep state? And I felt my body kind of come up off the bed, felt a hug, and then go back down and at the same time as I'm going down, my eyes are starting to open and I see myself going back down. So it was my mom giving me a hug.
Okay, that's really?
That is the only thing that's ever happened to me.
I didn't get that at all. Watch tonight and I'm gonna freak the fuck out. I think
She's gonna be swinging
with my taser that Cynthia gave me.
Oh my god.
There is an interesting phenomenon too, where people, maybe you guys have experiences. I have not too many times, but it's happened where it's really freaky. Where you're asleep, and I think it's like you were saying, like you're kind of sort of in between. But then all of a sudden you feel like you're falling, and I'm like falling, like you just fell out of an airplane. And I more than once have pulled the sheets off on my bed because that's how real it felt. Literally, the sheets pulled out because I thought I was really falling, and then I woke up. I was like, "Oh, what the heck?" Like it was crazy.
That happened to me once, and then I was on the top bunk, and I actually fell off the bed.
No.
Okay, that's just.
I didn't get hurt, but
I just don't sleep that deeply. And I know, like, it bums me out. Like, I think you have to be someone who can actually sleep deeply to have some of these experiences. I just don't. I'm so sad. Don't you feel sorry for me? No, I'm just kidding.
Now that you've been not feeling so great lately, maybe you have been sleeping deeper now.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
You might
Yeah.
get a visit tonight. Who knows?
I'm asking the spirits to come to me. No, I don't want no ghosts coming to me. I want them to work on some stuff. Put some money in my bank account. Don't waste your time coming to talk to me. Find a way.
I remember as a kid, and this was before I got religious, I said, listen, God, I don't want to see no angels. I don't want to see no demons. I said, if I see you, just don't scare the crap out of me. You're okay, but I want to see nothing else.
Right.
Yeah. I think at heart, I'm always a skeptic and not, I mean, I do believe in the things that have happened to me, but if I had to have a conversation with like a scientist, I would absolutely be like, oh yeah, the crow was whatever, their wing was hurt and they just happened to fall on me. And you know what I mean? And it was just perfect timing and it would have happened anyway or something, you know, but I'd be like, yeah, no, there are patterns I believe in. There's a reason why it happened the way it happened because I needed to know or feel, even if it's not true. That's what so that's the flip part of it. I needed to understand that Richard was okay. So it doesn't matter why it happened. The effect it had on me was what needed to happen. So I think that's also sometimes what we do too, is that like, if we need to hear something from a psychic, we hear it, you know, like I remember going with a friend of mine to a psychic and at this point, I'm like, I ain't paying no psychic nothing no more. Unless it's like, it's on Venice Beach and it's like $5, you know, just like when tourists come or whatever, you know, right. You know, that's different. But I went with her and I remember, and she was like, I just want to see what they think about him. And, you know, she was having issues in her marriage. And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, like everything she was saying, I was like, oh my God, rolling my eyes, like, whatever. Because my friend Tanya was like, I'm like, oh my God, I could have told you that for $200. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
I got an interesting story. So there was this guy and it was at a church and he was a guy from Africa and he was a prophet. Notice the air quotes for the people that
makes somebody a prophet?
Well, there's some churches that believe that God will speak directly and give you information, blah, 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 blah. So I went because a lot of people from my church were going. And now, again, mind you, before I became religious, quote, I was into all that stuff. But then after I said, I really said this like seriously, I was like, God, please, from now on, if anybody tries to read me, just don't let it happen. Just let them just not get it right at all. So this guy's in church and he's literally going to people saying how many kids they have, what their ages are, their names. He could tell you social security number. He was like, I ain't gonna say the whole thing, but da-da-da. I was like, wait a minute. This is my problem. Why would God do this? Like, you're making it look like, look how powerful I am and look how in tune I am. Like, this is not glorifying God. This is glorifying you.
Right.
So he's like,
and a lot of that information you can find on Google nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, this is before Google, but remember there was that guy. Oh, I'm sorry, Rick. Will you finish?
Yeah. So anyway, he's going around and everybody's like, wow. And I'm like, I don't know. This is too much. And then he came to me. I was like, oh, no, here we go. Brother, stand up. Okay, sure. Do you have a wife? No. Do you have a girlfriend? No. Do you live with a woman? No, I wasn't that time. I was living upstairs.
Living with
no. And he kept asking me all these things and everything was wrong. I was like, thank you, God. I told you, don't let nobody read me. He goes, God bless you, brother. He walked away.
And moved on.
He was like, wait a minute. He was 100% with everybody. But then with this guy, what happened? I don't know what happened. Y'all stupid.
No, that's mean. I think if you want, I mean, I know what you're saying, but again, I'm not for the scammers. Remember there was a guy on Oprah. I forget what his name was. It was a famous guy who was the medium guy. He would walk in the audience. You know who I'm talking about? He would walk in the audience and he'd be like, oh, somebody's sister wants me to talk to them. Did someone recently lose a sister? I'm like, you're in a room.
Right.
People. Like, I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, I can figure it out.
Somebody's mother start with the letter M. Come on.
Right.
Really?
Like like if I can remember his name, I know you guys would remember him or whatever, but it doesn't matter. He, they ended up finding out he was a fraud or whatever. Big surprise, But I think part of what people don't understand is a lot of the stuff that people were getting from these people were things they were finding out about them, not just on the internet, but in your trash also, or in your mail or whatever. Like he would have all these examples of people who were like, oh my God, he knew all this, this, and this. And you could tell that there was somebody who did a lot of research on him, And then in the next breath, it's also the way in which, and I'm a good reader of people's facial expressions and the way in which, everybody has a tick just naturally because of the way I was raised. I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think a lot of people, it's the same reason why people can do lie detector tests. Like police can figure out certain people, whether you're wearing that thing or not, if you're lying or not, just based on the way they can read your faces. I'm not saying all police before, but you know what I'm saying? Those people that do all that forensic crazy stuff. That's part of it, But I also think sometimes we want to believe. And we need to believe because it fuels us to feel better about whatever it is. And so that's why part of me doesn't want to admonish like some of the people you had in the audience, you know what I mean? You didn't want that. And so you rejected it, and that's awesome. But maybe other people wanted to believe that their cousin who died in a car accident was talking to the medium, right? I don't know. I don't know if there's any harm in it. Maybe there is. I don't know what you guys think.
It's like with you and the crow. The crow could have just, fallen, but it made you feel better. It made you feel like
I totally believe it. And I also believe the thing in the airplane, like, see, I don't believe in coincidences. So that one is really hard because I'm like, come on. I was hoping for a quiet, like next door person or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like to have my own seat or be in first class. I didn't get in first class though. So I don't know. But yeah, I think that's probably part of it too. If we need it, we believe in it, and then it becomes real and it does help us. I think it's when people manipulate that, right?
Yeah.
That it becomes a problem. And when people are just taking money from you and telling you, you have to buy a crystal because then the evil spirit will stay away from you. Yeah.
I don't get I don't get those crystal things. I just don't.
I don't know.
To me, it's also kind of dumb. It's like, okay, let's say it's for real. It's a spirit. Can you take a knife and cut the spirit? You can't do nothing to it. What does it care about physical things? What's a physical thing going to do against the spirit?
I don't know what you mean, though. Are you talking about like somebody trying to sell you crystal?
For example, we watch movies about vampires and like we put up the cross, the vampire, right? So we have that in our head. So some people, because they think, oh, I think a spirit came to me or whatever, an evil spirit. So they'll put crosses everywhere or wear a necklace. I'm like, that ain't doing nothing. What is a spirit that you can't touch and do nothing to it? What does it care about anything in the physical realm?
But is it to make that person feel better?
Yeah.
Can it be symbolic? Can it be something that people are doing because it just feels right?
Yeah, it might make you feel better, but I don't think that thing is like, oh, no, you put him across. It doesn't care. It's a physical thing. It has no effect on that.
But what if you believe that? Okay, so, and I'm going to say something because I keep thinking about, because you are Christian and you practice it. I mean, you do on your show drinking of the wine and eating of I was going to say butter. Oh my God, I'm so tired.
I want popcorn now.
But I don't mean any disrespect. I'm so hot right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really do anything, but it does do something for you and people who believe what they believe, right? I mean, it means something. So I hear you. I'm just being.
I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
So, we were both brought up Catholic, even though we're not practicing now. So at my front door, I have a rosary hanging by the door. I have one in my bedroom door. And I take one every time I travel. It's actually my rosary from my first communion that I take with me. So to me, it makes me feel better. It makes me have my faith.
You feel safe.
Yeah.
The rosary, though, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I carry a quarter with me.
Just a random one? Or does it have a special year?
It has a special year on it, but it just cracks me up. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
Kind of like the whole rabbit's foot thing. Remember, people used to have rabbit's foot.
right, rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
Like luck. Well, I don't believe in luck, but that's a whole other conversation. Do you guys believe in
The
luck?
rabbit wasn't that lucky.
No, he wasn't.
Exactly. Right. But do you guys believe in luck? See, I don't believe in luck.
Nah, not really.
Yeah. I don't believe in luck because if I have to believe in luck, I have to believe in bad luck. I just don't think it works that way. I don't think some people get, the cloud over them all the time and some people get the sunshine, I just don't believe in that kind of like, why? Especially if you're a good and decent human being who tries hard every day, no matter what mistakes are that you made, why would the universe function that way? Whatever you believe, you know what I mean? Like, I actually think most people are good and most people have the same shot as anyone else to have joy and happiness, I have to believe that because if not, I'd be very miserable. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Wow. So that was kind of a fun, interesting conversation. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You guys always go with it like we do. What? Are you making fun of me?
No, you are too.
Oh my God. Like, totally. You know what it is? I can throw out any subject and you guys are always willing to talk about it. And that's what I love about our little neighborhood show. It's like, I always want to make sure we have something eclectic and different and fun and informative. And maybe we learn something, And now I've learned that Cynthia walks around with rosary beads. I had no idea.
When I travel, I do.
I love that. And you guys know that I travel with a specific quarter in my pocket all the time. Yeah. I also have a dream weaver. I have a dream weaver that I have in my car. And which is interesting because someone gave it to me, Barry Mansfield.
You mean a dream catcher?
Oh, yeah. What did I call it?
Dream Weaver? Isn't that a song?
What's a dream weaver? What's it called? A dream catcher?
Yeah. It's supposed to catch bad dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have no idea what it is, but it's in my car, and it's a circle with netting in it and feathers.
Dream catcher.
It's American.
You know what? For 30 years, I've been calling it a dream weaver. And that's how it's going to stay. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's always so much fun when you guys come and visit. Please make sure that you come and visit us again on Friday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're always here on Sundays as well. And remember, at the end of the day, it really is all about the joy. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Dreamweaver. Oh, my God. Thanks for stopping by. All about the joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.